And welcome back, Yankees fans, to an all-new episode of the Pinstriped Prospects Podcast, our 50th episode. That's right, we've hit 50 episodes. What a milestone. We thank all you guys for tuning in each and every week to the podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Keeler, and I'm also going to be one of the Staten Island Yankees beat writers for the upcoming New York Penn League season, so get forward to that when June rolls around. Of course, our podcast is sponsored by the great folks over at Velocity 5 Sports Restaurant and Bar in Sterling, Virginia. To talk about the first week of minor league baseball, the Yankees at least a week and a half in, and we'll talk about some ballparks as well. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight, but first, let's meet our two panelists tonight. We'll start with our Tampa Tarpons beat writer, Omari Brown. Omari, how you doing?
I'm doing very good, Ricky. Glad to be on. Episode 50 is a pretty great milestone, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
I'm super happy to have you. And also joining us tonight is the partner here at Pinstriped Prospects, Paul Pagnato. Paul, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. Great to be here. And special thank you to all our listeners and fans. Really appreciate you guys letting us continue to do this. Episode 50 is a tremendous milestone, and we're happy to do it for you.
Absolutely. We can't do it without you guys, the fans. So thank you for tuning in every single week. We're going to get started with the big league club before we get into some minor league action. The first week of games there underway. And let's talk about the Yankees starting rotation. There's been a lot of attention on the bullpen. When you look at Chad Green, Tommy Kahnle, David Robertson, and the way Aaron Boone's used the bullpen. But the starting rotation has had its struggles as well. Coming into tonight, the Yankees were 8th in the American League in innings pitched by their starters at 58 2/3. And that 30 1/3 came from Luis Severino and Masahiro Tanaka. Of course, CC Sabathia is on the disabled list, so the Yankees lose some depth there. Omari, how critical is it for the back end of the rotation following Severino and Tanaka to at least give the Yankees some innings to avoid wearing out the strong bullpen that they have?
I think it's incredibly, crucial that the back end, the Montgomerys, well, the back end would be Gray and Monty. They definitely have to get some more length because, as you alluded to before, the bullpen is being taxed, and you can't. You're not going to be able to sustain that over the course of an entire season. Baseball is a very long season, and we're very early in the baseball season, but we can see what overuse and overworking the bullpen could do because, the bullpen was supposed to be one of the strengths on the season, and right now it's not looking great. So it's going to be really important for Montgomery and Gray and guys to just get some length. So, so Aaron Boone doesn't have to go to the well that much.
And, Paul, I think the key for this rotation has got to be Sonny Gray. On Saturday, he was pretty good. 6 innings, about 86 pitches. Gray's going to have to be the one as the veteran to give the reliable 6 innings per start because while Jordan Montgomery has showed some good spots, you can't really expect too much out of Montgomery in his second year to be that innings eater right away.
Well, I honestly, at this point, I think you have to expect greatness from everybody. That's just the way that the Yankees are. That's the market that we're in. Jordan Montgomery is going to have to step up and be a reliable option. Otherwise, come the trade deadline, he will not be in the rotation, and I can guarantee you that. Sonny Gray, I think, was a tremendous addition back in last July during the trade deadline. Really, really like Sonny. I think this is going to be a breakout year for him. I think he's going to be just fine. The one that I'm the most concerned about is CC Sabathia. Is he going to be healthy? And my gut and my feeling was he is kind of on his last leg. Towards the tail end of the postseason, that was kind of my gut feeling, and I didn't know how much more he had left. And he's thrown nine innings this year so far. He pitched to a 4 ERA, and I'm the most concerned about CC.
CC is, I think, the wild card in here when you think about the numbers and the sabermetrics that are used, and they're not going to really allow CC that much, Omari, to go about 85, 90 pitches. So Sabathia at least is going to have to at least get them through 5-6 innings because I even liked his first start in Toronto where Aaron Boone trusted him, let him get that extra out in the 5th inning. But it's going to be tough unless CC can work economically to be that guy that can give them at least 6 innings a night, which they need out of CC and Gray in those 3-4 spots.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And the number where CC starts to tail off is actually 75. So he's gonna have to be really efficient. If you look at his on base percentage, it jumps up almost 200 points from up to 75 pitches and then after 75. So CC's gonna have to get a lot of his work done efficiently and quickly. So I don't know. Some nights he's not gonna have it at all. So you might get a lot of 4 inning, 4 and a 2/3 inning starts, and that's going to start to tax the bullpen at all in itself. And just like Paul said, I think that the key with CC is going to be health. And right now he kind of isn't healthy, even though they said that this was more of a precaution than anything. I think that if this was towards the end of the year and the Yankees are pushing to get a first place spot or get home field advantage, I don't think CC would have been put on the disabled list. But it's like we said, it's only 11 games into a 162 game season, so it's not. We don't have to jump off the cliff yet.
And they desperately needed the pitching after those 2 extra inning games because they were starting to wear out a lot of those arms, and somebody to give them a break. And Domingo Herman at least looked pretty good on Sunday instead of the home run by Santander. Let's take a look at the lineup and the patience that they've had this season. When you look at the Yankees in their offense, we know how potent it is, but they do a really good job of working the count and drawing pitches per plate appearance. So far, as of tonight, in the top 26 in the American League, the Yankees have 4 players in pitches per plate appearance. Brett Gardner, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and Tyler Austin have both seen over 4 pitches per appearance this season. And last year, the Yankees had 3 affiliates, Trenton, Tampa, and Charleston, finishing the top 5 in their respective leagues in walks. So, Paul, how much is working the count and drawing the pitches per plate appearance up stress from an organizational standpoint?
To me, it's on the individual level. The game is always changing. As you see, Aaron Judge is now batting second. 10 years ago, there's no way he would have hit anything other than fourth. You see Baltimore's Chris Davis batting leadoff. The traditional approach in Major League Baseball has been see as many pitches as you can. The non-traditional way, the current kind of way, is get a good pitch to hit mentality. Whether that's on the first pitch or the second pitch, so be it. That might be the best one you see all night. But I want to stress that it really is based on the individual and what their comfort level is. Starters aren't going into games that long anymore. They're going 5, maybe 6. Now it's about, how many times are they getting through the order versus how many pitches are they throwing. So the working the count, per se, in the past was to get starting pitchers out of games early and get to the weaker pitching. Now the back end of the bullpen and the guys who you would be getting to early are the actual strength of the staff. Having said all that, I do appreciate when players see more pitches and pitch types off of, different pitchers, helps them in the future unquestionably. And, I'll raise that even further. And I personally think that, the strikeouts are the kryptonite of any, especially a playoff team. Look at Kansas City a few years ago, San Francisco, they're all tough outs and they see a lot of pitches. But, there's a fine line there, whether, is it, are we taking first pitch fastball right down the middle of the plate? Well, I would not tell Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton to do that. In fact, in Wednesday night's contest on MLB Network, Alex Cora, the Red Sox manager, has been credited with giving Mookie Betts advice on, the Astros philosophy on swinging on that first pitch fastball if you get it. And just look at what he's done this year. He's taken off. So it's an individual approach.
And Omari, we take a look at the top 3 in the lineup being on that list in Gardner, Judge, and Stanton. That has to play a positive effect on guys like Didi Gregorius, Gary Sanchez, why Austin's worked the 4 pitches per play appearance that he has, because the pitcher is going to get tired. And even if the Stanton and Judge do strike out, that's going to get Didi, Sanchez, and the rest of the lineup better pitches to hit.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, whenever a pitcher throws, more pitches, just like Paul said, it's going to help the guys that come up after. Helps him in a few things. The pitcher is probably, not going to be as locked in. He's going to be a little bit more tired. And also Didi, Gary, and even Tyler Austin, who's been playing a lot more than any of us anticipated. They're going to see a lot more pitches, and they're going to see how they're attacking those guys. And it gives them a better understanding of what to look for in certain situations. Judge, I believe he has the most at bats. Most at bats that go to a full count in all of baseball since last year. So I think that it definitely helps them, gives the other guys a better look. And then after Judge bats, he can go give his little detailed scouting report to the guys in the dugout. But I just wanted to touch on the philosophy thing a little bit. I think that it's good. I think that it's good that to get a lot of guys to see a lot of pitches. I think that it's definitely a philosophy that the Yankees are pushing, but you also want to have a nice balance. You can't just have a lineup of guys just, always trying to get to 3-2 and, missing their pitches or taking their pitches. So I think that, it's case to case, because I don't want a guy like Didi. I do want Didi to walk more, but if Didi gets, if he gets something that he can drive the first or second pitch of the at bat, I want him to do that too. So I think that, from a philosophical standpoint, the Yankees would like that. But I think they also want guys to be comfortable too when they're at the plate.
So the best part about doing these podcasts live is that you never know exactly what's going to happen while you record them. So as we were recording, Joe Kelly decides to drill Tyler Austin after Tyler Austin had the slide the Red Sox took issue with a couple innings prior. And then you got the big Yankees-Red Sox bench clearing brawl that's going on. Tyler Austin and Joe Kelly were ejected, but we were talking about it before we hopped on here, Omari. This could be the one spark that gets the Yankees going, especially adds to the fuel and the fire of this rivalry.
Definitely. I'm not going to sit here and say that I condone violence or anything like that, but you definitely do need a spark. And you always need a spark from guys like Tyler Austin, the bench guys, those role players, just to show a little bit of life. The Yankees got beat 14-1 last night. And I think, number one, they should be embarrassed. And two, their bats kind of woke up today, and I think this is just going to, add more fuel to the fire. You don't want to kick somebody when they're down. It seems like that's kind of what the Red Sox are doing. So at this, we could be looking back. I think this is going to be a moment in this season where, things are going to start to turn.
Definitely has that vibe, especially when you look at where the game was going. Yankees had an 8-1 lead, then JD Martinez hits a grand slam, makes it 8-6. The Yankees at least tacked on a couple of insurance runs, and Phil Nevin was also ejected. Paul, your reaction to what's been going on over the last few minutes, and what have your thoughts been on this Red Sox series so far up to this point?
Well, I'll answer the second question first. The series so far has been atrocious. We've only had, one game in the books completed, and Severino was tipping his pitches. His hands were held out on the slider, held in on the fastball. Good for the Red Sox on picking that up. Hopefully they did it with their eyes instead of an eye watch. But a little humor there. But I just you gotta regroup, and it was embarrassing when you lose 13 runs. Lose by 13 runs. That's never a good thing. And then carrying over to today, Tyler Austin. He plays the game hard, and I can see why they took exception to the slide. He did kick his leg out there a little bit, did spike him, but it was nothing that warranted being thrown at, in my opinion. So I don't condone violence, just like Omari, either. But it's always fun to watch. Having said that, and watch these guys be competitors, because that's what they do. They go out there and battle and compete, and sometimes the emotions get the best of them. And this reminds me of a couple years ago when Alex Rodriguez came back and they threw at him, and then he hit that home run, and that really sparked the team. So I'm interested to see how this plays out.
And Tyler Austin is really a thorn in the Red Sox side. When you think about it, he seems to have success against some of their tougher pitchers, like a David Price, who only finished one inning tonight due to injury. Chris Sale, Tyler Austin's had success against in the past. And Omari, you look at Tyler Austin, the impact he's had. He's responded in spring training when it looked like Adam Lynn was going to take that backup first baseman job. Austin stepped up and grabbed it before the Greg Bird injury. And he's really one of those guys we talked about in the last segment. He has stepped up for the Yankees in the bottom of that lineup.
Yeah, amidst of all the injuries, I've been trying to find silver linings throughout this entire season. Honestly, I've been, and it's been tough. Like I've even talked about, Giancarlo hustling and playing, a fairly decent left field. But Tyler Austin, he's one of those guys that we always wish that he could stay healthy. And for the most part this season, he has been healthy. And he might not be. I know Paul referred to him as a quadruple A player. In recent episodes, but I'm really liking what I see. I'm not expecting too much from Tyler Austin, but a guy that plays hard can give you some pop off the bench, and seems like a good clubhouse guy and plays the game the right way. I think that you can't have a superstar at every single position, but you need a few guys like Tyler Austin just to complete and make it a solid team. So I've really been impressed with what he can do.
So we will talk about the minor leagues in a second, but of course, let's first get a word from our sponsor. Attention cancer victims. If you or a loved one lived, worked, or visited Lower Manhattan months after the 9/11 attacks and have been diagnosed with cancer, federal benefits and health care may be available. Attorney Eddie Markowitz has helped many families recover substantial benefits from the September 11th Victims Compensation Fund. The James Adroga Health and Compensation Act has been extended, but time is limited. Attorney Markowitz is proud to serve as counsel to the Drogo family. Let him help you too. These benefits are not just for rescue workers, but to anyone who qualifies. The fund covers many cancers, including prostate, skin, lung, and breast. Please call 1-800-LAW-HELP. That's 1-800-LAW-HELP to see if you qualify. So let's take a look now into the minor league action. Of course, it's about a week into the season, so small sample size for a lot of these teams. We'll touch on a couple of guys shortly, but one of the things I want to take a look at is when you're going out to these games, and some of you guys haven't maybe gone to the ballparks, we want to give you an inside scoop of what's at these parks that you can check out when you go there, the experience of the whole 9 yards. So, Omari, I want to start with you. You cover the Tampa Tarpons. What's the atmosphere like over at Steinbrenner Field for that team when you go as a fan?
Yeah, I had the pleasure of going. This was my first time, so I got there a little bit earlier. I walked around a little bit, and I think, it's massive, first of all. I think this is my fourth minor league stadium, and this is just on a whole nother level, just in sheer size and what you can do from a fan standpoint. So when you're walking in, it's already massive. You can see, Yankees logos everywhere, Steinbrenner Field. They have a small replica of Monument Park that I saw a lot of kids taking pictures at. They have a standing area in the right field seats. The press box is it's big, it's nice. It's a great environment for everyone too. They had fireworks after the home opener. So I would encourage anybody that wants to see future stars to come out to the games. There's a large menu, and the staff there is really respectful and professional. So I had a great first experience there, and I'm looking forward to going there all throughout the summer.
Paul, what about Arm & Hammer Park from the Trenton Thunder perspective?
Oh, I think they do a tremendous job there, and the park's beautiful. I worked in Trenton for who is now one of the partners with the Staten Island Yankees, Will Smith. I worked under him 1 year, and now current GM Jeff Hurley just does a tremendous job. You got the river in right field, which kind of has the breeze a little bit. You have the family fun zone in right field by the bullpens for the kids. You have the speed pitch. You have a little t-ball action, and my favorite is the Yankee Club. If you get an option to go to the Yankee Club and Conference Center, buy the tickets. It is definitely the most expensive seat in the house, but you're surrounded by memorabilia. They just do such a great job there. It's really nice. And there's really just not a bad seat in the ballpark. And, definitely go out and make a trip to see the Baby Bombers. And Trenton should be high on your list because AA is some great baseball.
And Tommy Romanelli, our Scranton Wilkes-Barre beat writer, chimed in as well, talking about PNC Field, how they have a homer zone in left center where fans can buy lawn tickets. There's a kid zone with a bounce house and a pitch machine. You can walk all around the stadium and look into the visitors' bullpen, and they just have a virtual reality batting cage you can check out and take BP. So that's always a cool experience as well. So go out to those ballparks and check out what each team has to offer. So let's look at some of the small sample sizes through the first week. Every team has played roughly 6 or 7 games. Let's start with the hitters that we can take a look at. Omari, you cover Tampa, and of course Estevan Florial is the big name down there in that lineup. Who are a hitter or two that have stood out to you through the first week?
Throughout the first week is definitely going to be Brandon Wagner. He hit 2 dingers in the opening week. First baseman, DH. He and Tim Lynch have been switching off. I really liked what I've seen. He has a good understanding of the strike zone, I want to say, and he does have some pop. I've done a spotlight, and you guys can check it on the website of Isaiah Gilliam, switch hitting corner outfielder. He's looked pretty good too. Got off to a bit of a slow start, but he hit a home run, and he had a game-changing double in the last game that I went to. But the person I've been most impressed with, offensively and defensively, is Hoy Park. Hoy Park is a part of that 2014, big bonus class. He's from South Korea, and every year he's just been getting, a little bit better. He and Diego Castillo switch off playing shortstop and second base, and I've been really impressed with him. In the first game that I saw, he had a diving stop up the middle to help Travis Stephon get out of the inning, and then flip it around on the next night, the Friday night, he had a diving stop from shortstop, going up the middle. And I've just seen him; he's not trying to do too much. He hit a home run at the game that I wasn't at, but the games that I did see, he just he went with a lot of pitches. He has a nice opposite field approach, and I've just really been impressed with his at bats. He's a pro, and I like the way he goes about his business. So Hoy Park is definitely a name that we should start getting familiar with.
Paul, when you look at Trenton, Jalen Jackson has been the power surge with 4 home runs to start the season. What have you made of his start, and who are some of the hitters in the Thunder lineup we should be looking out for?
So obviously Jalen Jackson, he is just an incredible athlete. That's one thing that I just can't rave enough about him is just the type of athlete that he is. But the name for me that really has impressed is Gosuke Kato. He's slashing 391, 481, and 656 in 23 at-bats. So that's 6 games. He's recorded 9 hits. So he's off to a very hot start.
Looking at it from the Charleston side, while they've struggled to hit with runners in scoring position, Chris Hess is going to be one name you watch. He had 2 home runs and 6 RBIs against Rome on Monday. He's hit 3 home runs already this season, and considering he didn't hit a home run that first year last season with the Yankees, that's definitely a good sign to see him breaking out. Tommy chimed in as well with Ryan McBroom, who's playing the outfield out in Scranton-Wilkes-Barre, and Kyle Higashioka behind the plate has a couple of home runs. So Scranton's always got that power-laden lineup that if you go to their ballpark, you're going to see home runs with that team. Let's take a look at some pitchers. Paul, I'll start with you on the Trenton side. You could talk about which pitcher stood out to you, especially Caleb Ort jumping up from Staten Island to Trenton, and he's been lighting up the radar gun with his fastball in the Thunder bullpen.
Absolutely. I like Caleb a lot. I had the chance to see him in Pulaski, walked away very, very impressed. A guy that, he's another high prospect, highly ranked prospect in the Yankee system is Dylan Tate. He's 1-0 with a 1.5 ERA. His stuff was just fantastic in his first start. 5 strikeouts and no walks. So he, stuff was great, commanding the ball very well. He looked really, really good.
When you have a rotation of Tate, Domingo Acevedo, and Justice Sheffield, that alone is worth the price of admission when you go to a Thunder game and see that rotation. Omari, what about with the Tarpons? Who stands out from a pitching standpoint?
You don't have to look any further than the opening day starter, Travis Stephon. He's been he struggled a little bit. Trying to command the inside of the strike zone against right-handed batters against the Flying Tigers, but he had a very strong bounce back start. So Stephon has 14 strikeouts in 10 innings in 2 starts. So he's 1-0 with a 1.80 ERA, and he's just been looking good. His fastball operates between 91 and 93. It touched 94 at times, but his secondary pitches are really, he has a wipeout slider curve combination that just dives out of the strike zone against. And for relievers, I'll say David Soseby. He's been in 3 games. He has 2 saves, and his stuff has been, he's for the most part in his appearances, he hasn't made it exciting, which is good. I don't want my closers making anything exciting.
Definitely not. You want nice, easy innings from your closers. And so definitely sounds like he provides that. On the Charleston side, want to give a shout out to our beat writer, Joseph Dixon. Did a great feature on Glenn Otto, who got the start this afternoon for the River Dogs and had a really good outing. While he walked 4, he gave up only 1 hit over 6 innings and struck out 5. He's making that transition into the rotation, so definitely a good sign when you can bounce back in your second start and put up a quality outing there. So make sure to check out Joseph Dixon's piece on Glenn Otto. So as we wrap up the show here, looking at the first week, again, it's a small sample size, not going to overreact to disappointing performances or to surprising positive performances. But Paul, I want to get the insight from you. As fans watch these games early on, what are the things that you look for as these teams start to come together in these first few weeks?
That varies upon the level. I honestly think in the upper levels, you're going to look at, obviously stuff and how they're physically looking. But, you got to look at results too. And, Chance Adams is a name that I'm going to throw out there. He could be a viable major league option if his numbers are there, his stuff is there. And, developmentally wise, he doesn't have that much left to go, before he's big league ready. He just has to find that, what he had last year, overcome the injury a little bit. I know he's had some injury history this in the past, year or so in the off season. He addressed those, concerns. But, guys to look forward to are Justice Sheffield. Watch those guys start to really heat up. Domingo Acevedo, start getting in a groove. And the biggest name is the biggest name in the system that I would look out for is Gleyber Torres. After a rough spring, he's off to a hot start, slashing 348 and 565 with a home run and a triple. And Gleyber is just one of those guys that I really feel he's going to have an impact at the major league level. So to watch him, continue to progress and mature and become a major league ready player, that's something to keep an eye out for. You can watch games on MLB TV if you can't get out. It's $50. Well worth it to watch these young baby bombers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think especially with some of the injuries the Yankees have had, it's going to be really tough from a depth perspective because maybe guys are playing at a different level than they would originally be playing at because of all these injuries. So that's another thing to monitor as well. But Torres is definitely playing well, and he's starting to play some third base too. So with that Super 2 expiration date coming up, that's going to be something you want to watch, at least in Scranton, to see how quick Torres might make it up to the big leagues. Omari, what about you down in Tampa? What are some of the things that you're keeping an eye on as this team gets together through the first week?
Yeah, I want to watch the Tampa team. I think is loaded. Just like if you're a prospect nerd, like I was before actually getting the opportunity to come here. Guys like Frazier Perez, I want to see him work on some secondary stuff, repeating his delivery a little bit more, getting deeper into the game. Obviously, the marquee name there is Esteban Florio. I still think he's striking out too much. So you want to see guys start to work on some of their weaknesses. Just guys like Hoy Park just keep getting better. Guys like, Adonis Rosa just continue to get better. So you just want to look at, guys starting to work on their weaknesses and starting to work on their game. But I encourage anybody to come out and look at some of these guys because, if everything goes well, a lot of these guys are going to be able to be contributors. And, they have moments where you see it. And you can always, you want to be there in one of those first moments where you say like, hey, I saw Esteban Florio hit the furthest home run in Lakeland Tiger Stadium. So it's just like good moments like that if you're in the area, you have an opportunity to go see. And I encourage everyone to, be patient, but also just enjoy the growth that these minor league players go through.
And of course, if you miss anything, our beat writers out there are going to give you all the scoop. We have great player features coming out on each team, so you definitely don't want to miss that. And we also have our nightly Pinstripe Performances column, which gives you a short recap of who had the best nights or how a starting pitcher did in a little bit of brief form. Of course, you get the expanded version from our insiders, so definitely appreciate Omari and Paul jumping on tonight to talk about the first week of the minor leagues and for the majors. Again, go over to pinstripeprospects.com. Our founder, Rob Pimpsner, has a great piece out about the LJ Mazzilli-Kendall Coleman trade between the Yankees and the Mets. He also talks about all the injuries that have happened for not just the New York Yankees, but for all the other minor league teams as well. Follow us on Facebook. Just search Pinstripe Prospects. On Twitter, @Pinstripe Pros. Instagram, Pinstripe Pros. We have it all covered on social media. Be sure to head over to iTunes, give us that popular 5-star rating. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Of course, with our 50th episode, we thank all of you guys for tuning in tonight. And, of course, we thank our sponsor, Velocity 5 Sports Restaurant and Bar in Sterling, Virginia. So for our founder, Rob Pimpsner, for Omari, for Paul, I'm Ricky Keeler saying I hope you have a great rest of your week and enjoy the Yankees baseball on the major and minor league levels.